the ending is not as controversial as everyone is making it out to be. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. My name is Talal, and welcome to Popcorn and Soda, the show where we discuss all things movies, pop culture, and so much more. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for making moi a small part of your day, and welcome to Pop Takes, the segment within the show in which we dissect certain parts of films, certain parts of pop culture, upcoming lists of most anticipated films, favorite movies, worst movies, all the fun stuff within the realm of films. And today is a video that I'm actually very excited for. One that I've kind of held back on because I wanted to see how I felt a few weeks after watching the movie. And that is a full out spoiler review of the ending. Once again, the ending of Joker, Folie. One of the most controversial films of the year, apparently, and a film that just sadly crashed and burned in the theaters, and just the way everyone completely rejected it. It's a shame because I think I had a very, when I look back at it and you guys watch my review, which you can by clicking that link right up here, I liked the film more than probably 99% of the people. I think there was a lot of really good things in this movie. Was it perfect? No, not at all. But I got where Todd was going with this film. And I think the biggest issue that people have with this movie, looking back at it, is that people are like, why was it even made? It didn't need to be made. There's no need for a sequel, blah, blah, blah. Why is it a musical? Listen, some of those concerns and points are valid. But at the end of the day, there's no reason for any movie to be made then, right? If you go down that path. This movie made $1 billion, the original Joker. In no way, shape, or form would any Hollywood executive ever turn down the opportunity to make a sequel to this movie. No one would. And that's, I guess, the one piece that people are forgetting and missing, that this is showbiz. The biz is for business. And when you have a movie that originally was made for 55 million or so and ended up making over $1 billion worldwide, I get why they made a sequel to this. Anyone in business would. And I get why they gave Todd Phillips creative control on this film, because he took something so small in terms of budget and he like 50x'd even more whatever box office ended up getting from the movie, from streaming, from Blu-rays, 4K, whatever. So I totally get that. And I think people need to understand that. And in the context of this video that we're going to do today, we're going to break it down based off of the movie itself. I'm not going to get into all that this didn't need to be made, there is no requirement for a sequel, blah, blah, blah. The movie is what it is, for better or for worse. I hope every single person likes every movie that they watch, because again, movies are an investment of your time, and that is something you never get back. So I truly hope everyone enjoys whatever they watch. But I think it's equally important that when you don't like it, that's valid. And I think you absolutely have the right to your opinion, because my opinion is no more valid than yours and vice versa. This is a little circle of movie fans and movie friends that just want to chat movies. So what we're going to do today is talk about the decisive ending of this film, because that, more than anything, is what gets the biggest heat about this movie. And 2 weeks later, just like how I kind of watched it at the time, I still don't think it was perfect, but it's grown on me. I think the ending of this movie, in many ways, is how this movie should have gone. So we're going to break this down into 3 different aspects. And again, this is a very spoiler heavy video. So if you have not seen Joker Folie, save this, add this to your favorites, go watch the film and come right back. I'd love to discuss it with you. Or if you don't care about spoilers, you're more welcome to stay, and love having you here. So we're going to break it down into 3 different aspects. And these are the 3 components of that ending. Number 1 is Arthur is not the Joker. Number 2, Arthur is Arthur. And number 3 is the idea of the Joker. And we'll kind of go step by step into those 3 components of the ending. And I'll kind of give you the pro and con of each and why it worked for me and why it maybe didn't. So let's get started, friends. Number 1, Arthur's not the Joker. And what I mean by that specifically in the context of this first point is during the court scene, as you guys know, this movie heavily takes place in a court where Harvey Dent, spoiler, who's in this film, is representing the state, and they're trying to get the death penalty for Arthur Fleck for all the gruesome murders he's committed, as well as the murder of Murray Franklin from the very first film. So it's a very court-heavy drama on this film. There comes a point where in the movie, Arthur starts to realize that, hey, I'm having a lot of these fans that are coming in and cheering me on, but they're here for the Joker. They're not here for me. And there comes a point in the movie where Arthur goes full Joker in one of the court scenes. And when he gets back to Arkham State, where he is being captured and being held as the trial is going on, he gets like physically beaten down by the guards in Arkham. And I don't know what they imply, but it looked like they implied that he was maybe even like sexually abused by the guards at Arkham. I don't know if that's what was implied, but it looked like they really abused him in many different ways. And when that happens, there is this inmate that's almost like a friend of Arthur's in Arkham named Ricky, and Ricky gets killed by one of the guards as well. And that's where Arthur kind of has a moment where he's like, I'm not the Joker. And all these people that are kind of idolizing me and whatnot, that's not who I really am. And the reason why he feels that way is because of ultimately number 2 is he admits in the courtroom the following trial date that I am not the Joker, because his defense is trying to portray that he is mentally ill, and that is not Arthur Fleck who committed those crimes. It is this persona of the Joker. And Arthur realizes that I'm not this person. I'm Arthur Fleck. I did all those things. And it humanized Arthur in that moment because he didn't care about all the drama surrounding the Joker. He didn't care about all the fans. He just wanted to be Arthur. And in that moment, Arthur chose to be Arthur. And that's largely because of his fascination and love with Harley Quinn in this movie, played by Lady Gaga, who falls in love with Arthur, who he believes falls in love with Arthur. And he's like, you know what? I want to live a life with Lee. And I love her. And I don't care about this Joker persona. Lee loves me for me. And that is why second aspect is when crazy bomb happens, explodes within the courtroom itself, which breaks apart and kills many different people. And we get a nice little origin story nod to Harvey Dent, who has half of his face burnt off. And the supporters of the Joker come in and they pretty much rescue Arthur from there. Arthur escapes as he's in the car with one of the rescuers because he's like, what is this? I don't want to be part of this. I just want to go see Lee. He goes and finds Lee at the same stair steps from the first Joker movie, the iconic stairs with the dance, which he finds her there. And before I even go into that scene, I personally think that Lee was never at those steps. I believe that because right before that scene happened with the courtroom exploding with that explosive device, Joker, Arthur looks into the camera during one of the trial dates that's being televised and says, I'm not the Joker, I'm Arthur. Harley Quinn, who has this crazy trouble fascination with the Joker, she kind of puts a gun to her head and it kind of leaves it open-ended as to what happens. Because she never loved Arthur. She loved the idea of this Joker. Of course, Arthur runs up those stairs, finds her there. He's like, hey, let's have a life together, blah, blah, blah. Which again shows you how troubled he is because he thinks he can kind of get away with all this. And Lee shuts him down. She's like, no, I don't love you. I love the Joker. And you said you're not the Joker. And Arthur goes on this whole heartbroken tangent that, hey, it's still me. I'm still Arthur. But for someone like Harley Quinn, who is completely twisted in the head as well, who falls in love with this mass killer, she comes in looking a little different, more like the traditional Harley Quinn that we may see in the comics, or their own take of it in this realistic, grimy world of Arkham and Gotham, especially in this Todd Phillips universe. She's like, no. And she just walks away. And she looks different than she did in the scene prior where she had the gun to her head. So that is why I think this is another one of Arthur's hallucinations, where she wasn't really there, but he wanted her to be there. And as soon as she walks away, Arthur gets captured again. He gets taken back to Arkham, and it looks like he's getting the death penalty for his murders for all of those people that he did kill. So the first part again is Arthur's not the Joker. Part 2 is Arthur is Arthur. And again, people had a problem with that because they're like, why is he kind of going from this crazy psycho killer of this fandom that he created to back to being a nobody? But I think that's realistic because clearly this man's never had love in his life. And now he's finally found it for the first time. And unfortunately, he thinks it's for him, but it's really not. It's for this persona that he created. It's unfortunate, but it makes sense, right? If you really think about it. And that's how I challenge you all to view this ending. Think about it logically in the world that this movie takes place in. Don't think of it as this movie didn't need to be made or whatever, or why is it retconning things from the first. The first one to me is a masterpiece. I freaking love that movie. I watched that movie 4 times in theaters, including at TIFF, where I waited 10 hours in line, kid you not, to watch this movie as part of the rush line. And I think it was like 3 or 4 people I got to go in, and I was one of them alongside my brother. So one of the best movie experiences ever I've had is Joker 1. Joker 2, I take it for what it is. Again, I did not have a bad time with this movie. Was I disappointed? Yes, but I didn't think it was as bad as everyone's making it out to be. Didn't need to be a musical though. I think that is maybe one thing. And then the third thing is the idea of the Joker. And this is something that was very fascinating. And this is, again, goes back to what I just said. If you're in this world, this realistic, grimy Gotham, and you have this psycho mass killer, it's going to inspire others to kind of not necessarily go out on a killing spree, but to maybe express themselves more and be a fan of this person. And that's pretty much what happens in this movie, is that the Joker is an idea. Arthur Fleck is just Arthur Fleck. And the Joker can be anyone. The Joker is more so of an idea of anti-establishment, anti-government, anti-elitism. What happens in the film in the very end is Arthur has a visitor while he's back in Arkham prison. I think it's called Arkham State Hospital. Throughout this movie, we get a few glimpses of this character, this young character who's got like, you could tell he's got issues. He's got like this like very serious face. He's kind of smiling. And then you can kind of see that this guy may play a part later in the movie. And as Arthur's walking to go see who may be here to visit him, which I'm sure deep down he wishes is Harley Quinn. He may even think it's Harley Quinn. We see that one character that popped up a few times in the movie come after him and say, hey, Arthur, hold up. Can I tell you a joke? And Arthur is like, all right, cool. It was kind of very telegraphed. Because again, when you've seen the amount of movies that I watch and different genres over the years, and I saw it coming. I thought it was very badly telegraphed, that scene, but I will give credit to the actor who was playing this Arkham inmate, because I think he did a really good job. I really did. I think he was very well in this role. He was doing the best he can with the role that he got. And what happens is, as Arthur is being told a joke, the guy tells him the joke and he wraps up with, "You get what you deserve," and then literally stabs Arthur to death 4 or 5 times right in the chest. His chest or stomach, I don't even remember. Arthur falls, staring at the camera as he bleeds to death. But the most important thing of this scene is in the background, you can see that person who just killed Arthur sitting down, laughing, takes the blade, cuts a smile into his face. And bam, the movie ends with a rendition of That's Life like it did in the first one, but this one was a cover by Lady Gaga. The movie ends with a pan right into Arthur's face as he almost looks at peace, but it shows us that he may have never really been the Joker. The Joker can be anyone. And in that moment, that inmate in Arkham has now pretty much become the Joker in this world, right? We don't know if he becomes the Joker. We don't know if he gets captured 10 minutes later and gets put on the chair. We don't know. But that's kind of where it ends. And what I kind of really liked about this ending, looking back at it weeks later, is Arthur does for this kid that nobody did for Arthur in that first movie. And I heard Todd talk about this, and I really like that because nobody gave Arthur a chance in the first movie. He saw this kid who wanted to tell him a joke. He actually, he stood there and he's like, "Okay, let's hear it." And he kind of even smiled a little bit at some parts of the joke. Yes, it was telegraphed. Yes, I kind of saw it coming, but I liked the interaction between these two characters. A lot of people, again, were very, very angry at this ending because they're like, okay, how much more can you destroy the first movie? But again, I urge you all to watch this for what this movie is. And more importantly, I give credit to Todd Phillips. I really do. He took bold swings in this film. That ending was a bold swing. Killing off Arthur was massive. I give him credit because you don't see that happening in many movies, especially comic book movies. So I think that kudos to Todd Phillips. Now, is this movie perfect? It's not. Do I think that they could have done less with the musical numbers and just maybe had it a conventional film like the first? Yeah. But at the same time, looking back at this movie a few weeks after watching it, I have an appreciation for this movie. It's unfortunate that others don't. That's perfectly okay. Your opinion's equally as valid as mine, and vice versa. But I didn't mind this movie as much as everyone else did. The ending, yes, very telegraphed. Yes, you kind of saw it from a mile away when that scene happens. But I think the execution, it worked. I liked it. Looking back at it and thinking about it, kind of marinating in it for a couple of weeks, realistically, that's probably what would happen. You would get some crazy guy that would get influenced by Arthur and then probably go off and kill him and try to take over the persona of the Joker. Much respects to everyone in that last scene, because when they were shooting it, I can imagine how they're probably like, we're taking a big swing here, but they went for it. So I watched this movie once in the theater. I was hoping to watch it multiple more times, but it's coming out on streaming very soon. I believe the 29th of October. So in the next upcoming days, you guys will be able to watch this if you haven't seen it. And in my review, I did say that I think this is a good streaming movie. So for some of you who haven't seen it, check it out. Maybe you'll like it. And I'm curious about what you guys thought about this film. So comment below and share your thoughts on the ending. Do you think it was the right ending? Did you like this mysterious character in Arkham who ends up kind of becoming the Joker? What did you think? One last thing that I'll add about that. All these crazy things that, hey, that's Heath Ledger's Joker's origin story. Come on, guys. If you want to go down that path, then clearly the way the Waynes died in this first Joker is not how they died in Batman Begins. I get how people want to put 2 and 2 together, but that's not Heath Ledger's Joker. It's not. I get it. It's on the nose with how I got these scars. And Again, Todd went out there for better or for worse. He chose to include that scene in there, very well knowing what people are going to think. Todd Phillips is a very smart guy. So he clearly had some sort of idea, and I'm curious, maybe one day he'll talk about it. But I think it's fair to say that that is not Heath Ledger's Joker. I personally wish maybe they didn't do it that way, but I think we can put that to bed. But it's a cool little callback, I will say that. So there you have it, guys. That is my hot take, on the ending of Joker Folie et Deux. An ending that has grown on me over the last couple of weeks. A film that I'm actually excited to watch again, because I think watching it at a second time in the comfort of my own space, I may pick up on things that I didn't the first time. So as always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it if you can take 5 seconds out of your day to hit that subscribe button, click like, heck, maybe click dislike if you don't like this movie at all. That's perfectly okay. And click that little bell notification to get all the news on my latest videos. As always, thank you for tuning in. See you next time on Popcorn and Soda.